What happens when Donald Trump's proposed policies, mass deportation, tariffs, Project 2025, restrictive immigration measures, and anti-science and anti-climate stances are combined? Together, they would reshape the U.S. economy, public health, and millions of lives, creating a future defined by economic contraction, declining living standards, and worsening societal well-being. Mass deportation of approximately 11 million undocumented immigrants would have far-reaching consequences, both economically and socially. The enforcement alone would cost at least $315 billion, while slashing GDP by 4.2% to 6.8% over a decade, equivalent to $4.60 to $7.4 trillion in losses. Industries like agriculture, construction, and hospitality, which heavily rely on immigrant labor, would face crippling shortages, driving up wages, increasing consumer costs, and fueling inflation. Beyond the economic damage, the human toll would be devastating. Families torn apart, communities destabilized, and dreams of a better life destroyed. These impacts would be compounded by other harmful policies, including tariffs, tax cuts for the wealthy, restrictive immigration rules, deregulation, and anti-science agendas, which together would wreak havoc on the U.S. economy and society. For instance, tariffs would function as hidden taxes on consumers, costing families $2,000 to $4,000 annually, while provoking retaliatory measures that would harm exports and small businesses. Simultaneously, extending tax cuts for the ultra-wealthy would drain $1.50 to $2 trillion in federal revenue over a decade, exacerbating inequality and stifling economic growth. Restrictive immigration policies targeting skilled workers and students would further undermine U.S. competitiveness, costing up to $2 trillion annually and weakening leadership in critical fields like artificial intelligence and clean energy. Adding to the economic strain, deregulation would provide short-term savings for businesses but risk long-term harm through environmental degradation and weakened public health protections. Meanwhile, anti-science and anti-climate policies would have catastrophic long-term effects, delaying investments in renewable energy and reversing environmental protections. These choices would increase pollution-related healthcare costs by $3 to $5 trillion over a decade and amplify the frequency and severity of climate-related disasters, with damages potentially reaching $1.87 trillion annually by 2050. Altogether, the combined impact of these policies could slash GDP by as much as $39.65 trillion over 10 years. This economic upheaval would erode living standards, drive up costs, deepen inequality, and reduce life expectancy by 2 to 5 years for the most vulnerable populations. These policies are not just abstract numbers, they represent real lives. Families losing their homes due to rising costs, children denied access to quality education, and communities ravaged by climate disasters are the human consequences of these decisions. Together, they create a nation that is poorer, sicker, and more divided. Please subscribe to the Intellectualist's new YouTube channel, where we present insightful videos analyzing the current events shaping the world. Turn on notifications to receive the latest updates from the channel.